Hi besties, I'm Dana. Today we're going super glamour and I'm showing you guys how to do this really cute, almost kind of smoky Thanksgiving kind of ballsy look. I really wanted to go for a very cranberry type of feel. I wanted to go burgundy and burnt orange and I feel like I achieved that. So if you like this look, please recreate it. Show me what you did. Even if you kind of tweaked it, I really would like to see you guys recreate these. Tag me. All my socials are in my description, so make sure you check that out. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright besties, let's get started. I want to go a very glam route, so I'm using my Senna Brow Book. This basically has like a really big array of different shades, and I'm going to use the darkest one just because I have really dark brows. I'm taking that darkest shade on a angled brush, and I'm just going to kind of focus that on the ends of my brows. This is just kind of like a holiday makeup, so it's good for like a Thanksgiving or even like a Christmas or anything, but I'm targeting this more towards a fall color palette because I've been wanting to use that color palette for a while. Essentially, I'm kind of doing almost an Instagram brow because, not gonna lie, who doesn't like one? I do try to keep mine a little bit softer, so I essentially just focused it on the end, made a line underneath, and then using a spoolie, I'm gonna fade out the front. Once I have that product down, I'm just going to add some concealer because we're going to prep our eyes for eyeshadow. And then I'm going to use my flat concealer brush. You guys know I love this thing. And I'm going to outline the bottom, sort of carving it out, but I don't want to make it too harsh. We just want the definition to be present. So as long as you got that, you do you. Of course, on an individual perspective, you do the type of brow that you like because everybody likes doing their brows certain ways. And I'm definitely the type of person that if I were to get my makeup done, I'm probably doing my brows by myself. Well, I think I would give the reins to someone else as long as they didn't pluck them because I struggle plucking my own brows. What makes you think I'm gonna let someone else do it? I'm keeping my lines very blended. I don't want a super harsh line. And then with a small powder brush, I'm adding a little bit of powder to set that in place. As you can see, there's a difference, but it's slight and it's not too cookie cutter, if that makes any sense at all. This brow for me is always a little bit thinner. It gets a little complicated to do this one. They say do the one that's hardest first, but I tend to not listen to that. Doing whatever side you struggle with the most first because then the other side's so much easier. But you know, I like to make my life complicated. With my left eyebrow, I always heavily rely on the fact that I'm gonna conceal the bottom. What's your favorite season? I personally love fall, but I also really like winter, although I do complain often about how cold it is, but I'm from Vegas, so does it get really that cold compared to other places? No, but am I still freezing at 60 degrees? Yes. Look how much crazier this brow looks in this one, because I always add so much more product to this side than I do this side, just because I try so hard to even it out, but concealer is our best friend. Who could have guessed that I would have said that? I'm just gonna follow my line from over here and use that as my symmetry guide. You know, you guys know at this point, if you've been watching my videos, I always try to give myself some type of guide. I think if you told me, Dana, you need to go do your makeup, but you need to like not give yourself any cheat codes, I don't think I could do it. I truly don't. Dana, you can't use any of your systems. Excuse me? And it's not my glam. Don't be afraid to blend a little bit into the brow just to get rid of that line. I want it to transition very softly. You know the drill, set it. You know, and this is a good time to go check your symmetry truly. Gosh, Dana, make a video without saying symmetry. All that just to have two different brows anyways. Ultimately, they don't gotta be perfect, says Dana in every single video. It's easier to see the full harmony when everything's coming together, so I'm just gonna leave them for now. I'm going to be using my Jocelyn Hill Volume 2 palette just because it has the exact color palette I'm looking for. I'm looking to use some burnt oranges and some burgundy. We're going to start off with some burnt orange. I'm taking shade Homebody and I'm focusing that on the inner crease of my eyes and fading it into the center. I'm slowly fading this outwards. I'm going to mirror this on the other side. I'm blending it without adding more product because if I were to dip back in now, it's just going to get really messy really fast. I'm focusing it on my crease because I want all the pigment. If you get a little boo-boo like I have right here, you could take that concealer brush without adding any more concealer, just whatever's on it, and then just swiping it. Play around with the intensity and like just try to get them as matched as possible on both sides. We're going to cut a crease later anyways. Once that's done, we're going to move on to our burgundy. Now I'm taking shade Crazy from the same palette and I'm practically making it a continuation of my orange, blending it in the center. Similarly to our orange, I'm blending it out without adding more product because I want to get my blend before I add pigment. It's easier to add product, it's harder to take it away. Now that we have a good blend, we're going to pack on that color to make it as dark as possible because I don't want this to look pink. I want this to be burgundy. I know it's a going out look, but drama. Looking straight while I dig it into my crease to get that really deep color, fading it out. I'm overlaying my color slightly onto my orange just to really get a good blend. Once I have my color built up, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Still using Shade Crazy. Be careful when it comes to purples and burgundies and reds because they're so hard to control sometimes. So like I said, blend before you add more pigment. Of course, overlapping into my orange. Now we're ready to cut our crease. Taking your favorite concealer and a concealer brush, you're going to start like normal, like if you're doing a half cut crease. I'm using my tear duct as a guide, stamping and dragging, but when I get closer to this area, I'll show you what I'm gonna do differently. Y'all know I love a good handheld mirror. It's best to look forward so you can see where your placement is landing. Okay, now that we're more close to this area, since I have a flat brush that kind of rounds at the tip, I'm gonna take that and use it as my mold by stamping it down. And I'm gonna start building a rounded shape. I'm trying to close my crease rather than blend it out, creating almost like a circle oval-y shape. Once I have somewhat of a shape, I'm gonna go in with my burgundy shade and I'm gonna start tapping in around the edges and making it circular so that when I look straight, we have kind of this round shape. I'm gonna take another small brush. I'm gonna take my Pat McGrath Celestial Odyssey palette and I'm gonna start by using this shade right here. I'm going to take this shade, you can use any shimmer you'd like, and I'm going to start packing it into the shape I've created. I like using angled brushes for most things just because it gets me really good precision. I love Pat McGrath so much because these shimmers are truly out of this world. I'm also going to go in with this lighter shade on top, focusing this more towards my inner corner though because that's where I want it to shine brightest. Now I'm going to repeat my steps on the other side. I love this brush so much. And again, once you have kind of a little bit of a shape, go in with that burgundy and truly create the shape. Use whatever two shimmers you picked once more. You don't need to use the exact same ones as me, you just need a darker and a lighter one and you should be a-okay. You could also do this in silver, I think it would look really nice as well. But honestly, I have a different plan for a silver look, so stay tuned. We're going to take some concealer. I'm going to add it to my concealer brush. And I'm going to use the little corner right here, my outer corner, as a guide. And I'm just going to cut straight upwards before blending. This is just giving us our like super sharp and clean line. And just look at the difference that it makes. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. This little corner as a guide and just following through. It's kind of like if I'm continuing my waterline. And just for now, we're going to move on to the base. We'll come back to the eyes. Use your favorite foundation. Today I am using my Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. I'm going to blend it out with a foundation brush. This one's by Real Techniques. I adore this foundation. It's so lightweight yet still really good coverage. It's so like pretty and skin-like. Now I'm adding concealer, and because I want my under eyes to be bright, I'm using the Future Fluid from Milk. This is quite a few shades lighter than me, so I'm just focusing it on my under eyes, making sure I run it down my nose, and then I'm blending it out with my fluffier brush. I'm going over it with a sponge just to make sure it's super blended and locked into place. I'm using a pressed powder to set the outer parts of my face. I like using a pressed powder because it gives you coverage while setting. Once the outer parts of my face are done, I'm going in with a translucent powder and setting the center parts of my face to give an illuminated look. You always want the brighter powder in the center. Using two different powders will so make a difference, trust. And I'm going to do the rest of my face makeup before I finish the eyes. I'm going to be using my Sephora Collection Micro Smooth palette. I'm going to be using both the bronzer and the blush, focusing that kind of starting at the top of my ear and then blending inwards, and then traveling it upwards to my temple. I'm almost creating like a C. And if you count the underneath part of your jaw, if you want to define that, you can make it into a 3. Again, tapping in my product, making my C before I turn it into a 3. I like to go in with a powder brush and blend out and feather out these edges. I like doing it before I add my blush so it's just all seamless. Now going in with my blush, I'm focusing it right here on the apples of my cheeks. I have a rounder face shape, so I like to kind of focus it more upwards and into the center and do the same trick. I slightly extend it upwards. I'm going to feather out my edges. And I'm going to slightly bake my under eye area. I say slightly because I'm not leaving a ton of powder. And now let's do our under eye. Y'all know I'm going to use my angled brush. I'm going to continue my lash line, connecting with the little feathered out bit that I have, carrying it across my whole waterline. I just think this color is so, so pretty. Whenever I do this part, I like to think of Bratz doll eyes. I'm just going to repeat on the other side. Once I have my burgundy down, I'm going to take my burnt orange that I used at the very beginning, and I'm going to finish off that little segment, overlapping the colors. Going back in with my burgundy just to make sure I have a really good blend between both my colors. And then using my lighter shade from my Pat McGrath palette, I'm going to connect this and bring it on top of my orange. I'm adding my top and bottom mascara. Now that dries, before I put on my lashes, I'm going to do my lip, and I'm actually aiming to do a sort of lower contrast kind of lip. Instead of using a quite harsh lip liner, I'm going to be using a lip tint. This one's by Dior in shade 711. I'm going to apply this to the center of my lips and use a Q-tip or my finger to smear it around so it fades outwards rather than having super harsh lined lips. And then completely fading it outwards. And then adding another layer. And to be precise, I'm going to blend it out with a Q-tip. I'm focusing the color on the center of my lips, and we're left with something a little bit like this. And then on top, I'm using something that's less rosy colored. This is another lip tint, but by the brand Kim Use in the shade Red Bean Paste. So I'm adding this directly on top, blending out the edges of the Q-tip, adding one more layer on top. I think there's truly a beauty in layering lip products. To top off my lip, I'm using this gloss by Inglot. It's like a nude. And see how it kind of marries the colors together and meets it slightly? And it neutralizes any tones that ran too pink, which I love. And now add your favorite pair of lashes. I like applying my lash glue directly on the lash line and on the edges of my lash. I like to use tweezers to kind of pinch these into place, but you gotta be really careful because you don't want to poke your eye. I kind of wanted like dramatic lashes, but not too dramatic lashes, and I know these are kind of dramatic, but I have longer lashes that I own, so this is like, and I love adding mascara afterwards, just because it really fills your lashes in and it really locks them in with your natural ones. I like doing this step after my lashes are already on. I take some black eyeliner and just fill in my waterline just to really blend those in. And now I'm gonna add some highlighter. I'm using this one from ColourPop. This one's called Flexitarian. And personally, I love me a good fan brush. Look at how gorgeous. You really touch it and it's there. So freaking pretty. And just like that, this look is complete. It's so fun to just do a classic glam look. I adore these, so let me know if you want to see more looks that are more into the day-to-day look rather than my super like artsy ones, even though those are my thing. You can't take those away from me. Not completely, at least. I love this look. I think it is perfect for the holidays, whether you wear it to Thanksgiving or to even Christmas, but I try to kind of go for that more of a fall vibe, very cranberry sauce. You should definitely try it and adapt it to whatever you like, whether that be lighter colors and still using the same steps to cut your crease, but whatever you do, if you do it or do any of it or take anything from this video, please tag me on your post so I could see it and I could repost it and like it and follow you and all of that jazz. Please comment below what you'd like to see next. I have a couple videos up my sleeve that I'm working on, so stay tuned for that. And you guys are going to get to know me a lot better. And make sure you follow my TikTok, which is going to be linked below because I'm still working on getting my normal username back. Check my description. I have something real special coming up on my TikTok, so keep up with that. Stay tuned for my next videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, besties.